there's an incredible connection between our healing and our personal growth, as well as our spiritual development, that's a key factor, and it's forgiveness. Forgiveness plays one of the largest, if not the most significant aspect in our lives. And it's through forgiveness that we either verify what we know about ourselves through personal awareness, or it's an opportunity to make a choice and a decision to solidify who we are and who we're choosing to become during our lifetimes. And forgiveness is really important, because if you think about it through our spirituality, when we come into our physical bodies, our souls do, the whole purpose is to become Christ-like, right? In other words, our purpose is to come into this world with the so-called original sin, which is the desire to change, to make the change in humanity. So therefore, it's a change in the collective consciousness. But then also, the way this happens when we leave, when our soul goes back to heaven, we want it to be as pure as we can possibly make it. And this is where forgiveness and living that Christ-like life, to live our best lives, are key and essential to us achieving our spiritual mission here, our souls, to accomplish our soul's purpose and our life mission, during our life mission. And what's really interesting, actually not interesting, what's really truly a blessing, is that once a person or a human being, a soulful being, once they meet their soul's mission and they've come to their full and complete purest self, have really created their personal awareness to be in the best that they can be, the world's divine will give you anything, because you've really mastered and achieved really great things in this lifetime. And so let's talk about backing up a little bit. Forgiveness is about learning about ourselves. Forgiveness allows us personal awareness. Obviously, it's personal awareness through either confirming or solidifying what we've already chosen as our personal knowledge of ourselves, our personal desires of ourselves. And that's what creates our personalities, and that's what creates us, is what do we desire, and how are we fulfilling these desires within our lifetime to be the best person that we can be, right? So when we make a choice and decision that we don't want to lie, we don't want to steal, these are the morals that we want to live by, these are the values, and when we live up to those, we're living up to our personal, we are aware, our personal awareness is very keen and sharp within the spiritual journey that we have chosen to take our soul on. Now, the key between forgiveness and our healing is this. Let's use an example of a relationship. And sometimes we get involved in relationships that, when they end, can cause a lot of bitterness and a lot of hurt, and they cause a lot of hurt, which our reaction is bitterness, right? But if we take a step back, through that bitterness and that hurt that we're feeling, we also get to the point where we start resenting the fact that we even got into those relationships in the first place. But then if you think about your life as a puzzle, right? And if you took out those pieces of that puzzle that you learned during that relationship, then somehow you have to fill that in again. You have to fill it in again. And instead of doing that, we can heal, right? We can heal whatever that pain is inside of us from this relationship or the ending. We can heal that within us, and it all is about forgiveness. Allows us to grow through personal awareness. Some things that people do and say and the way they behave towards us and the way they treat us isn't about us. It's about them. And if we can understand and learn that it's not about us, it's about them, we learn something and we gain by having empathy for that person, by even acknowledging those are characteristics, and to know that other people feel this way under these circumstances. We learn a lot about ourselves through the world that we live in. And another thing that these relationships teach us is, without taking out these pieces of this puzzle, we learn about ourselves. What choices and decisions did we make in that relationship that enabled or added to its instability? And one of them, I can tell you, for me, my kid's father was an alcoholic, and I made concessions for it. I made up for it. I took care of all the stuff within the home and the home maintenance. I maintained our house. I took care of everything with the kids. He never once gave him a bath, and I paid all of our bills, and I handled the maintenance in the house while he was just working or staying after work to drink. And I was wrong, because when you take somebody's responsibility for their lives, which we were a part of his life, and I took that responsibility from him, it left him feeling not worthy or not valuable in the relationship. And but it was because of his drinking after work and always when he was at home that made me continue to pick up the slack. And I hope this is making sense. Either way, I learned through that each person has a responsibility to themselves and then to other relationships, and to the relationships that we have in our lives. So healing and forgiveness really help us create our personal awareness. And I hope this truly does make sense in a broader perspective, for better understanding. It just needs to be understood that some of the greatest things that we're going to learn in our lives is what we don't want to be. And also, some of the greatest things that we do want to be